In this recording, I'd like to show you how to add tabs to a form. Tabs are used if your forms get pretty busy and there's a lot of fields and you want to organize them a little bit and not overwhelm the user by showing them all at once. In the Unit 6 recordings, I've also demonstrated how you can use tabs to include charts that aren't always visible unless you ask for them. So to create this, I'm going to create a brand new form just to give me something to start from. I'm going to use my wizard and I'm going to base this on the orders table. Should have picked that ahead of time. That's all right. I'll take all the fields except the order ID field. Remember, that's an auto number field, means nothing. I don't see any reason to put it on the form. Next, column or layout's fine, and we'll call this FRM tabs, just to make sure I don't step on anything else. Finish, initially it doesn't show much, but it is kind of busy because of all my toppings and things. There's an order total. Fits on this screen. This is not the greatest example, but I'm not going to create a table with lots and lots of fields in it just so I can demonstrate that. But what I'm going to do is break these pieces of data into a couple of tabs. To add a tab, I'm going to go to Design View and stretch my form to make it wider. With forms, the width nowhere near as critical as it is with reports because I'm not going to print this. And I'm going to add a tab control. And you can add the tab control in layout view as well. But if you add it in layout view, then it gets stuck into a layout and you've got to remove everything. I'm not going to mess with my titles. You know how to do that. So I'm going to add a tab control. I'm just going to put it here for right now, and I can size it later as I go. Notice that the tab control has 2 tabs. You can go into the properties of this and modify the number of tabs. Remember where? Maybe it's under other. Tab stop, tab, nope. I'm wasting time here. That's the height. And we can right click over here and insert a page. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So that's how you add more pages. If you need 3, 4, 5 tabs, you can add as many as you want and put different data in different places. All right, first thing we're going to do is go to Layout View, and I'm going to start rearranging some of this stuff now. Before I do that, I'll change the titles on these things. When you select the tab control, you select the entire control first and then one of the tabs, and the inside tab gets selected. And then we can change its caption. The caption is the text that shows up across the top. The first thing I'm going to have in the first tab is the order information. And then I'm going to click on next page and change that caption to toppings. So I'm going to organize my form so that most of the order information is in the first tab, and then the toppings are going to be stored in the second tab. All right, so I have those. So now one of the first things I want to do is take the size information. And I'm in layout view. Take this size information and shrink it because it's quite large. It doesn't need to be that large. I'm going to take the size and the field. I'm going to drag them over here into, whoops, let's undo that. Drag them over here into the order tab. I can make sure the right tab is selected. Keep trying to drag over the top of them. Remember, you can't drag a box around them in layout view. And drop this over here. Now that works pretty well. Okay? If I grab the control now and try to move it, the size is obviously inside. So that worked pretty well. Now I'm going to switch to design view though to show you that there can be a difference and you have to be careful with these things. Right, now in addition to my size, I also want to have the soda, and now I can drag things. So I'm going to scroll a little bit here so I can see the coupon, the soda, the cheese sticks, all of that stuff I want in here as well. If you drag them in design mode and put them in there, notice the orange box doesn't show up, and when you drop them, they don't show up. In design mode, if you want to move things off the field, off the form, into a tab view like this, you have to cut them. You can't just drag them. So it might be best to do this in layout view so that I can drag them in here, but I'm going to cut them to the clipboard, and then I'm going to click my tab control, the order tab, and paste, and it tucks them in underneath, and then I can shrink the size of the coupon field. Oops, got them all. I don't think I need that. I don't need the coupon field to be quite so big. And shrink it down. Notice my tab expanded automatically, but it didn't shrink. So now I'm going to scroll over here and grab the side of that and shrink it so that it fits. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is move the toppings over to here. So once again, I'm going to drag, select these, cut them, paste into the toppings. 2 clicks. First make it this orange box, and that's the entire tab control. Okay. This is the tab for just, or this is the data for just that tab. Paste, and now my toppings are in there. And I've got my customer data over here. I've got my all the other stuff over here except for the order total. So just to spruce this up a little bit, I'm going to bring the order total up. Doesn't need to be quite that big. Most of this I don't need to do. I've done it in all the other recordings. I'm going to move this entire control down underneath here so that we can see the other information. Let's preview that, make sure it looks okay. Right, so now I can see that those don't line up very good, but again, you know how to change those. Switch to the toppings. I can see the toppings for this pizza. Next toppings, order totals are changing as we go. And again, I could pick a selector in here and do all the things you learned in the previous recordings, but this allows you to organize your form into sections, into groups, so that users aren't overwhelmed by all of the inputs and all the data at the same time.